So we join back in with our adventurers after last week they had continued to delve further into the corrupted caverns. Upon continuing their journey, they'd come across a room that, when first Dante seemed to enter, almost felt like stepping underwater. The room itself seemed pretty clear, but the walls full of corruption, and after Dante doing some stealthy investigating, there seems to be alcoves with reliefs and some winged creatures hidden behind them, and also glyphs and carvings that seem to follow a magical circuit. And we join now as Dante was clearing the corruption on the wall, the blue flames. Interestingly, Dante, and I was going to say it earlier and I sort of forgot. When your flames were clearing away the alcove, and now you're noticing again, now you're clearing away the wall, there isn't any heat, but the wall is blackening as if it's fire. If that makes sense. So the corruption clears away, and whereas normally it's just corruption clears and everything, it's just the wall underneath. In here, it's like it's blackening as if there is fire there. And as you follow up, it starts to reveal etchings. Sorry, it's a lot of smart. And at first, it looks like a complete glyph. But as you actually start to look, you see golden veins threaded with cracks of violet energy that, as you clear away the corruption, it almost pulses a little, as if there's still energy, not reacting in a setting off kind of way, but almost like you can see the potential energy that is building in these veins within the wall. And as you move a bit closer, you can see that they seem to stretch left and right. And as you're sort of looking with the previous arcana, it looks to be a abjuration, suppressive ward, maybe something like that. But actually, Dante, as you're looking, and as you fully clear this 10-foot section of the wall, if you imagine there's like the circle glyph, but then somebody's like taken this brick and twisted it. So the glyph was drawn originally and now it's wrong. If you imagine like a putting it back together kind of puzzle, where you sort of shift the image around and around, it's like somebody's taken that piece out, turned it around and put it back. And you notice 4 points where the glyph has been altered, corrupted, shifted. What was that to do?
What are we? How far away from Dante are we now? What are me and Ron seeing?
So for you guys back at the doorway, you're maybe only 20 feet away.
Okay.
And you're also seeing the clearing, but it's almost like, if you imagine, for you, the glyph at this distance is just scratching, so you can't really see the details of. But you are also seeing the sort of veins and ores, and it looks like you sort of cracked away and discovered an ore vein. But it's definitely, as for Dante that's closer, it's like, it's more for Dante. Imagine if somebody cut a very, very thin slice and inlaid it into the wall. That's more what it's like for Dante up close.
I mean, obviously, I'm still holding on to the rope. I mean, Volu, what are you doing, Val? I'm feeling like there's not a lot we can do to help him here, really.
I just had all my screens go black. Sorry, so I missed the last 30 seconds of what happened.
So essentially, and Dante, what I'll say is your intelligence high enough to think they're probably the same under all the other ones. You need to clear them to sort of see if they're also disrupted. But for Volu, you saw, as Dante cleared away the wall, it looks like a vein of like golden ore that has twisted flecks of purple throughout it. But for Dante, so for you guys, it looks like an actual ore. But for Dante, he can see it's like sliced slivers inlaid into the wall.
And I was just saying that obviously I'm holding the rope that's attached to Dante, but I didn't know if there was anything we could necessarily do to help much right now. Is it dark in here, Liam, or is it quite light?
No, fairly light.
But I don't recognise the symbol itself. I won't look at that and just kind of. I know it's abjuration, but it's not like, for example,
it's more like it's supposed to suppress an effect. That's what I'll give you with the roll you had. This is if you imagine this room should always have an effect running, and these are supposed to suppress it, but also, to be clear, Dante, nothing is active. You can see the potential for it to activate, but it's not currently active.
I'm going to go back.
Someone's messed with it to turn it off,
or at least all the infections.
That's what it looks like, or it's been shifted and altered. Like Dante said,
carvings say, like, there was loads of old carvings of various different languages.
It was prayers. It was like, please help me, please help my son come back from the war. Please make sure the crops harvest well. There's No, for Dante, it looks like somebody, like pilgrims come to carve on a holy site, sort of thing.
So general prayers for their own well-being, not like please don't kill us, or please. It was
it's like
it's like going to a wishing well, but
yeah, like going to a place where you if you carve your name on the rock, it's good luck or good fortune or whatever, that sort of vibe. But for Dante, when you were looking, there's a lot more of this room to the real room that has been changed by. It's almost like the deeper you're going, the more the actual real room is being changed, as opposed to just being a image on top of. And that's why this room seems a little bit more misshapen and not such a carved out room.
I'm going to go back and tow away Lenny and I want to say Anya. Yeah, same thing. Go and chat to show them. I'm going to do a rough sketch of the.
So everyone can make an arcana.
Okay. Not my strongest thing, but.
I'm gonna share the stuff that I know.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's an 18 from Lenny.
17.
Wow.
We rolled the same. I just have a +0.
You had guidance that you could have used.
Trust the dice.
I'd say that you all sort of come to the same conclusion. For sort of thinking about it through, and obviously with Anya, who's come across traps and stuff before, that you think that there's definitely, like, if you do something wrong or slip up or trigger something, there's obviously first off the creatures in the wall that Anya would probably say, I'm curious to whether they're creatures that's got in here and have been trapped in here, or whether they are. We have seen creatures that were, when we were here last time, we saw figures and creatures that were made entirely of the corruption almost.
Is this building, could this be as old as, say, the temple that we found?
It definitely could be. We saw something really old, didn't we, Liam, when we...
It was first of all, it was the portal and all those sorts of things were like ancient, but also so there's a level of either it's so old this was open ground and has been eaten by the mountains, right? We're either talking that old,
Mm-hmm.
or somebody before Cadfessi came down here and carved all this shit out without anybody knowing about it or recording it, or again, like, kind of hard to do when this has been like a focus of both sides of Vercel for the last
Thousands of years.
3,000 years because of the Zikar.
So my question here is, obviously I don't really have much memory at all of what we saw in that temple, but that had rooms that defended from different beings, correct?
And different types of magic.
Yeah, you almost got squished.
I know. So did you, I believe.
Nope. I pulled you out of that. Oh, sorry, I pulled Tenebris out of that because you were pulling one of your sneaky switcheroos.
Yes.
Yes, it did have rooms like that. I suppose my worry right now is, were those things here before or after the glyphs were messed with?
My question is, I believe Fae was one of the things it defended against.
It was.
It was.
And so we've now got a very old mausoleum-esque room with a ward that is currently not on, with Fae creatures inside. Potentially Fae creatures. I'm not sure. I think maybe Pixies.
They see that. Yeah, it seems like that to me. The sound sounds familiar.
So it's just something. I'm not sure if we try to turn these on. Maybe that cures the Pixies, or maybe that just lets everything out. Maybe it's a dinner bell.
And you would say, how did you see any traps? Anything that would trigger an effect?
The electrical, magical wires. They're there for more of a preventative measure, or at least that's how I feel. Like, if you cross us, we will activate.
Do we think this is trying to, because you have crossed one, or you stepped over the first one at least.
And there has been an effect of some kind, but bear in mind, we haven't, if these rooms aren't activated.
This is the same room that's still got the coarse air, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you will sort of start tying some more rope on the, just like, you're probably going to have to go further in, so they're just going to start sort of getting it tight and secure and making sure that's like double, triple knotted, so if they have to yank or whatever, they'll just sit down and focus on that and listen while you're...
Why don't you let if we're going to mess with the glyph, why don't you let your mage hand do it?
That is a good idea. Are we going to, quote unquote, fix this glyph then? Is that what we are confirming we are doing?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like these glyphs, it feels like when we've seen the stuff, that the protections that we found in the other temple were there for good reason. They were there to protect something that should be protected. And the corruption was obviously trying to subvert that somehow. So if we think that the corruption has messed with these glyphs, I don't know. Should we put them back to how they are? Would that protect us as well then, or would it? I can't tell.
I would say the room is strange. It doesn't seem like we have to interact with it, but that is why I was wondering about the trigger. Can we simply just walk through?
I think there's no infection on the floor. We could probably just walk through.
Is there any dust or like small rocks lying around?
Yeah.
Can I pick up a rock and kind of throw it into the other room?
Like further in? Okay, so you pick up a rock and sort of gitter it across the floor into the room. And there's a pause before, and you get it, you know, so it's a smooth stone, it sort of goes quite far, and it sort of skitters maybe 35 feet into the room, so like about halfway. And at the back right, where the alcove, where they think the alcove is, there's sort of movement in the wall before you do hear, not like swarm of, but a singular like, and doesn't seem to like zone in on you, because obviously you're all being very quiet, you're all quite stealth, although I will be clear, if it comes down this corridor, you've not got actually a lot of shit to hide behind. You know what I mean? Like right now it's like rock, 30, like, and it floats over. Definitely imagine a child, cartoon, hand-drawn, crayon drew a pixie. It's like that come to life. It's like somebody took a squiggly, a disproportionate
Is
cartoon.
it similar to the other place where it was, the infection was manufacturing creatures?
That was far better. If you imagine the things that it was creating down there were almost fully formed but corrupted.
So is this a bit like when AI gives people 6 fingers, or, you know?
Even worse, it is literally like if you said to a 3-year-old, draw a fairy,
And it
then
literally made that come to life.
created it and came it to life. And it's like, even the way it's moving in the sort of floaty, flyy way a fairy would, it doesn't seem impeded by its body. But as it sort of like, even as it reaches out a hand to pick up the rock, it's like one of its fingers is like drawn a little bit squiggly backwards, and it's like that sort of vibe. For Eleni, as you're watching this, there is a very, and actually, Dante, you would get it. Actually, I'm going to say Dante, you do get it. There is the moment for Dante, one of the clearer moments where I imagine for Dante it was like a very clear, fuck, he's going to kill them, was when we were down there, was when Dante, in Tenebris's head, he'd already decided that he was going to throw the power source. And sort of like you were going to move through the room and like basically just feed the fucking corruption and bolt. And obviously for Dante, there's that breaking of like, fuck, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And like, obviously before you sort of brought back into the cage that is your mind space at that time. And for Eleni, everything it was doing in there was to get that power. You're looking around, there's no source of power here. So if you imagine the things it seems to be able to create, if it's already dedicated all this energy to room, it can only spit out little crappy copies, or it can't do. So whereas when down there it had what you are assuming is god level magic in a jar.
And we were getting actual,
Now it can create beings like a god can. That's the vibe you're getting, and it floats through the center of the room and drops and sort of picks the rock up. You see it bites. There's no like teethy noise, but it does the same sort of like before it throws it down. It is sort of gonna sort of like stretch up and sort of look around a little bit. And I'm going to say Volu, your passive insight. And I think Eleni, your passive insight decent as well?
Mine's 16.
So I'm going to say just Volu. It looks, again, almost like there's that heart stop moment as it sort of turns in your direction, but seems to glance past and fixate on the now clear alcove. For Volu, you pick up on your insight, like, it's the level of, again, I made that, like, a hive.
Where's that gone?
It knows what their defenses and hive should look like, if that makes
Mm.
sense. And there's definitely like an animalistic, almost half intelligence to it. It sees it, and for Volu, it's going to investigate, alert somebody, do something. And I'm going to say that you have a moment, if you can think of anything, as it sort of straightens up, and you can see it starting to get like wing flap sort of vibe.
I've
been so careful.
You have.
You threw a stone.
Yeah. I was getting annoyed that we couldn't find anything.
But to be clear, they've not alerted you. They don't know where you specifically are, but something is up. And again, I think for Volu, it's not attack swarm. It's like, I should just wake everyone. I should just make sure everybody's up. Like, get a response from everybody sort of vibe.
What, the pixie or
The pixie?
The pixie in the center of the room.
So like,
wake up everybody. If you imagine in the same way, as let's say you got up in the middle of the night and went to pee, and then one of your tents is missing. The first thing you probably would do is like, guys, are we all good? Like, or look for your friends, right? And it's that in a hive situation, they just get the call and response sort of vibe. I'm giving Volu a second before that call goes out, as he has the high enough insight. Whether he wants to do anything or not, even if that is just pulling back and getting everybody the fuck out, right? Like, you've got a moment. But if you can think of anything else you'd like to do as well, that is purely up to you for this second.
What's my position in the room? So I'm like 10 feet behind Dante?
5 feet, 5 feet behind.
At the moment.
You're all clumped up at the door entrance.
Yeah, we're like at a corridor as it opens out.
35
forward to chuck the stone.
Yeah, so I'd say right now the pixie is 35 from you, and it's looking to the left wall where Dante had previously been and cleared.
So just this room is 70 foot long, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his throwing distance would be about, like I said, 35 feet for throwing a stone. Is that?
When you're not aiming, throwing is like 20-60 in it. So I was basically like, he could probably roughly skitter this stone halfway into the room.
I'm not that big, so
I'm trying to work out how far ahead he is in front of me before I.
No, you guys are all still together. I was thinking in my head that he could do it from the doorway. So he hasn't entered anything. He's almost like skimmed a rock across the floor, and it still was being sort of slowed, but not as bad as the arrow, because obviously arrow quite literally more requires the aerodynamics. And it's almost skimming it, like. But yes, go on.
Can I grab the rope and indicate to pull, and also telepathy ability to say, let's retreat?
Okay.
Yeah. And as I hear that, I would then be like, quietly, but I'd just be like, and walking backwards.
And Dante, there's like, so obviously as Eleni starts to make the motion, there's and it is call and response. There's like a ripple through the wall as it's like getting a response from people and making sure everything's chill, as you are like sinking back into the darkness of the corridor and pulling back down away. You pull back and you would meet the group further down, and probably noticing the sort of quiet and hushed, Hark and each of you would sort of give a look, and maybe hands, not drawing, but hands to weapons and questioning sort of thing.
I would want to come even further back, right? I want to make sure that there's a really good distance. And then I'm going to try and gesture, a very, very quietly whisper that things might come out of that corridor, and we need to be ready for it.
I wouldn't want to go all the way back. I would want to go back as far as possible, where I can still kind of see something. Like, I get it if it's there kind of like that. But if I can get a certain amount down just to see, even if it's at the far end one.
I'd say the maximum you could go and still see because of the sort of bend and twist in the cavern, would be about 100 foot.
Oh, fine.
The next room is like another 100 foot on. So you either want to clump around all that corner, basically, and you either want to all clump around the corner and sort of have the conversation there, or even as you sort of stop and you will sort of say, I could stay with and we can keep an eye on.
Yeah, if
you're uncomfortable.
I think it'd be good if we at least can see what's going on. Because we don't know.
She will nod and sort of say to Eleni and Volu, like, go on back with the others and inform them, see what's the plan is. We will, if you hear a scream, it's bad, but I will, I have these, and she will show you. She has, like, blunt, no-headed arrows.
Yeah.
She says, if we need you to come up and we can't move, I will fire one of these down.
I'm wondering if there's anything that I can...
I'm going to have my bow out.
According to this, I still have smoke bombs.
You do still have some, I think 3 of the little pocket things. Dante, she will hand you one of the blunt ones, not to knock, but like if I can't shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give them the smoke bombs in case they need to create a diversion to get away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Dante should probably let you take 2 and just take one of them.
I'm gonna have one of the smoke bombs in my mage hand, and I'll just.
Okay, so you're holding one's in the mage hand, and she'll take one. Is that fair?
Yeah, mage hand's one is. I'll just put the mage hand up on top of the roof right now.
Okay.
And it's still invisible. Don't know what that happens to the.
It's the timing, because obviously you could just keep recasting it, but is it like how long is it?
It's ages.
It's a minute duration, but yeah, I can just keep casting it. It's
just a cantrip, but just for my notes in terms of when we get in a combat, if you go longer than 10 rounds, it will. Just so I know that more sort of.
Have to reload it.
Yeah.
It's worth you knowing as well to know whether that bomb.
It's holding something up in the air, like if
it just suddenly drops. After 10 rounds, it's like a timed smoke bomb. After 10 rounds, that is going off, whether it falls to the floor or not.
Because of that, I will keep hold of it because I think that's a bad.
Well, fair enough. But okay, so they will all pull back and in a sort of safer area where you can communicate a little. Ichi and Harkin will. What is the situation? Does it look like we might need to fight?
Possibly. There are creatures in the walls that have been created by the corruption, I think.
So, not like the ones we have dealt with so far.
No, more like a child's drawing that magic has brought to life. But they could still be dangerous. They are behaving like pixies. I'm going to look at Volu like that's right, isn't it?
Harker will say, and of course we will treat them as any foe, but it is more about whether we use lethal force or the same tactics we have been using recently to restrain.
I don't believe that they are real pixies that have been corrupted. I think they've been generated by. They don't look like real pixies with corruption. They look like magically created creatures.
He will nod to the men and sort of say lethal force unless told otherwise. And they will sort of because again some of them were just like had weapons ready to defend, but were sort of like butting and hitting with the ends to sort of not kill people.
Yeah, I think this is lethal force, not.
Yeah.
So they will sort of
recall what I know about pixies to try and think of the weaknesses and resistances that I know of.
You can. So what I will say is, Paul, I know all of you would probably be at the point of assuming this. Pretty much every creature you've come across that's been created or manipulated by corruption has the necrotic resistance.
Okay.
For pixies, you would know, and Dante, you would also know this. So normally, not like in like. normally fairly curious and shy, right? They tend to like spy on people and play games, and it's those sorts of vibes. And again, for Volu, like coming across them in the Feywild, they're even more open and free, and it's laughing and games. And occasionally, don't upset a bunch of them because they are also fairly competent spellcasters. And the thing that I think is probably one for Dante in his head, but Volu, as you're thinking about what you might be able to do, depending on how close they are and all those sorts of things, normal pixies are very resistant to magic. And they are innately very good at casting spells. They are known to polymorph people. They are known to put entire groups of people to sleep. They can detect thoughts. They can dispel magic. They can confuse and entangle. They're, again, like pretty fun when they're on your side, but piss off a group of them and it becomes a real bad time real quick.
Are they very somatic based magic?
They will have some. They have the same. Oh no, sorry. So you would know this. Real pixies, and you don't know how it's going to sort of translate in this sense. Real pixies don't use normal components. They only need pixie dust to cast spells.
But
So
are you thinking in
That's
terms of
components.
making them silent, Paul?
So if a spell still has verbal components, then
if it still has the verbal components, then it still should shut down any of those sorts of things. However, obviously, it's one of those where you would know for things like entangle, like entangle does and such. And you can assume most higher level spells tend to, but none of you are high enough level to have access to polymorph, for example, right? You know that sleep has verbal and somatic components.
So it's worth a try.
It could shut a bunch down. The main thing that both of you would be thinking is they're not incredibly tough. They're an absolute fuckery to deal with. Oh, sorry. Other one is they have superior invisibility.
yeah.
So it still only lasts as long as the invisibility spell, but when they cast it, they can attack and cast and do everything else with it. So it's still, I think, a minute. I think greater invisibility is. Let me check that.
I think the only thing I would say about the silences that the room is really, really big, and I don't know if the silence would cover the whole room.
It's a 20. Like my silence is a 20-foot radius, so if I cast it 20 foot in, you'll have the first 40 feet of the room.
Yeah, but it's 70 foot.
It's also where they're casting from.
If they're casting range spells,
that's what I'm like. That's why I was like trying to figure out.
Harkon would probably say it would probably be better to cast to the further end of the room, and we move up to hold the line of silence. However, from your description, and obviously for you guys, the first alcoves, you could get the back alcoves, or you can get the front alcoves, or you can get both by straddling the middle of the room.
Is another option to try and funnel them into the corridor, and
so I was thinking doing it at the front of the room and have them kind of, if they're going to start coming down the corridor, you'd have.
They don't need to. That's what I'm saying. They can just ping spells from further back.
There's the fact that I can ping a spell from down the corridor. They can do that too.
Yeah. Well, so what I will say, Volu, and again, the last things I'll give you on your knowledge of pixies, you've never seen them cast like an innately offensive spell. In terms of, yes, they will turn you into a fish. Yes, they will put you to sleep. They don't have like firebolt. They will make the vines around you grow and tangle you up. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think in that sense you feel safe. In the main issue you think is, so the superior invisibility is not a spell. It's just a thing they can do. And for Volu, and again, the danger actually isn't as much for you guys. Maybe for Ichi, who hasn't yet been corrupted, but it's that thing biting, touching, scratching you while invisible, and multiple of them doing it. And then the fact if they have pixie level intelligence, they will do shit like swarm you and start unbuckling your shit and taking your belt off, and while one of them is like clawing your eyes out. You know, if they're gonna fight like pixies, it's going to be messing with your shit while hurting you, as opposed to standing at the back pinging you. Yes, nuisance guerrilla tactics. And I think I would say for Dante, if they can continue to retreat into the walls, that's going to be a problem. Because of the distance, because it's only 20 foot left and right, they can, if they can move quickly enough, come out, hit you, go back, come out, hit you, go back.
Just lean over to Anya, because she's the only one who's actually with me right now. She'll be like, if this does turn into a fight, I'm thinking we need to set off whatever this room repels. Depending on how many there are. There could be 10, there could be 100. And if they're anything like Pixies, they're little bastards.
Could they have fucked in it in a way that could be harmful to us? I mean, I don't disagree with you. I think they're in there and fucking with it for a reason, but
in the previous temple, my friends didn't say anything about things being fucked with. It was more it was keeping things in bay. Just.
I mean, I'll be honest, if it's any sort of magical trap like it looks like, I think trying to fix it will probably begin the process anyway.
I'm saying if we get into a fight, let's just try it.
I will follow you if you give me the signal.
Just if I'm in our ahead, let the others know.
Okay. And again, flashing back, most of the guards are basically just getting prepped, very much sort of like getting ready for the potential of a fight ahead. Is there anything people want to precast? And again, the guard Harkin would be saying, do you want to enter, check it, and get in position before we enter? I imagine our entrance will disturb things.
I think that's what we've already done. It depends on where Volu's going to put this silence, but I suspect it's going to kick off. I don't know if we want some people up at the front and some people at the back of the corridor to catch anyone who gets past us. And then we all need to move forward. But again, we don't know numbers right now. I don't want us all rushing in there and then all being swamped.
No, I agree. They will just get prepped then and wait to. They will probably divide it up that Harkin and the dwarf with the great axe are gonna enter with you.
Okay.
With the others switching to like crossbows and things to sort of. I'm thinking about the width of the corridor as well. They'll do like a kneeling and a standing shooter.
Yeah.
But that's about all that's gonna fit anyway. So if three or four of the guards hang back with the crossbows, and Harkin and the door, or even if you want to replace a guard with you, Eleni, I don't mind if you want to move them as you wish. Depends whether you want to go in or whether you want to be on the outside.
I think I'd rather be up front, because it is a 70-foot long thing, so I can still try and catch stuff. I was just looking to see if I've got anything that might help me against pixies, and I don't think I do.
No. The only thing I'd say that you obviously still have that. No, you won't actually. So note that the people that still have vials of
That's
the
against
water,
corrupted healing.
well, it's holy water now. It was only 12 hours that it lasted.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot about that. We should have used more of them. I haven't got anything particularly that helps here. I think it's just going to have to be me fighting them.
Let's scout again. Be careful and see if they are. See if we can gather numbers.
Okay.
And then I think the element of surprise is our favour here.
Am I right in remembering if you push something that's flying, it goes prone?
If you knock something prone that's flying, it falls.
Yeah.
But pushing them doesn't necessarily just knock them prone.
Okay.
It's more just that a shove you can do a shove and choose to knock the creature prone instead.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah. Are you guys wanting me to do silence? Do you think that will help at all, or?
I think anything helps right now. Is there any? I'm trying to think. Is there any kind of buff on us or protection against their magic somehow? But I don't think we've got anything like that, have we?
I did have just one good idea, but I'm not with you, so and we're a bit late for it anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my other thought. Well, I'll say this to Ellen. My other thought was maybe giving people some buffs like Bear's endurance, just in case they do get scratched or hit, because it gives you yeah.
So the only people really that need to worry about con saves at the minute, or again, so theoretically, so from what you guys have assumed so far, is Dante should be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Each is the only person here that hasn't actively been infected and cured. They would maybe even just something like blast if you're able to cover those that are entering the room.
I think silence is still a good thing to have in your backpack.
Yeah, because I'm saying they're all concentration-based things that I can provide.
Yeah.
So I need to pick one.
Well, why not then begin? We leave the physical fighting to weapons and cantrips or other things, or even Volu, we could hold you back, hold and wait to see if somebody is going to cast. See if there is a leader maybe that casts more frequently than any of the others.
I could hold a reaction maybe.
I'm even just thinking hold a bit further back so you're not bogged down in the.
I was thinking to be further back anyway, but whether like we want to go in, me cast silence, because the thing is as well, if you're people in there, then can't. I know they've got the arrows to fire back, but.
Well, I was also going to say if we needed to, that I think you've got that wall of wind or something similar that's quite useful because they're flying, aren't they?
They're not only flying; they are size-wise tiny creatures.
Okay.
So they count as a tiny creature. So wind wall would be an effective barrier in terms of they would have to make checks to physically pass through it as opposed to just being buffeted.
So worst case scenario, if we started to get swarmed, that might help us put some space between us as well.
Yeah.
The only other thought, Volu, for silence is it would stop them communicating, because that wasn't magic. That was like an actual auditory.
Yeah.
So starting with silence on the ones you're going to attack maybe might prevent the initial. But again, Hargo would be like, we need to see the room. They might have all retreated back into their hives and awaiting.
It's just what I never plan as much as I should, so I'm just trying to be conscious and be like, let's actually, while we've got a second, think a little bit, and otherwise I'll end up.
Speaking of seeing, say, the room, and we don't know where they might have gone to.
So for Dante, you can see into the room, and obviously you're only getting like the not a literal letterbox, but like letterbox view through the doorway that you can see. It has gone quiet, and there isn't like movement.
Can I do just? I know my passive perception is shit, but it's the only thing that I can potentially do here. I want to listen to hear if I can hear wings, because if they send someone down invisible, I want to at least
Okay, yeah, good shout. But got me. It's gonna be a perception, which ain't your best thing, but definitely give it a go. Do you wanna? Are you go as you move it? You're gonna say to like because Anya will also listen out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're going to be quiet from like this point on.
Okay. With
I'm
your, you don't really hear anything. You sort of take a look at Anya. She like shakes her head.
Now we're just listening. Carry on. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, back to the others. Basically, the guards are ready. Ichi's ready. They would sort of say to let's get back up to the others and we can figure out exactly what we're doing. While you scout out, we will wait at the corner to avoid detection. They would return and join back up, obviously. Anya would sort of say, no sound, I don't see them anymore.
Okay. That feels suspicious. I'm going to say to Harker, let's get back up there. I don't like Dante being up there on his own.
Okay, so I'm going to ask for. So no, sorry, the group joined Dante and Anya at that like elbow in the.
Gone.
And then Anya's gonna. Well, so they're telling you they can't see anything up there.
Yeah.
I will ask for anybody that wants to approach the room for new stealths.
Okay.
20, 30.
No.
I'm gonna go to Volu and just like put my hand out.
Yeah, I'll give you some guidance.
11, but hang on.
As I'm giving guidance, I'll be telling Dante my plan about silence.
Okay.
So if I'm standing still, Liam, while I make the stealth check, I would get advantage.
Yeah, so in this itch, because we're moving, no, but if we get to standing still, I'll let you roll another one.
Thank you.
22.
Okay, so the four, so you three and Anya, sort of moving forward slowly. As you get to the sort of 50-foot mark, you all freeze as you do once again hear, not aggressive, but just definitive wing flaps. And there's like, if you imagine like the sound of magic, almost like sort of the crackle and essence of stuff being manipulated, and then like porridge being poured out onto the floor, there's like, and it's coming from the side that you cleared. And I'd say from this point, so all of you can hear the noise. I would say only Eleni, you're able to pick out, I think 2 or 3. Like almost like there's a brief pause between the like, but there's almost like 2 of them happen too quick to have been, and then you hear some wings.
I would hold fingers up and show people.
And that's so unless you're approaching any closer, that is just continuing. Nothing moves across the doorway. It seems like all the activity is around the statue that you disturbed.
Someone needs to peek out, don't they?
Dante will go forward.
Dante, you move up to the edge and you start to sort of peek round. And as you're,
I have a mirror or something reflective.
I mean,
an arrowhead or
a
sword, anything just to.
I'd say you can probably find something reflective on the sword as you sort of like give a peek round. So, as you suspected, definitely moving around the relief and wall that you disturbed.
Mhm.
And it looks like, and for genuinely as you're looking at it, that it's the same sort of motion and casting, and almost the same sort of vibe as something like create water or create food. But as it sort of does it, just this mess of corrupted sludge just out of like a portal in the air, like, and then it sort of starts pushing it up into the, and it's almost like bees packing in the hive, and they're just fixing it. You don't, as you look around, you don't see any others. They don't seem like high alert, agitated. There's just three of these like, and again, not identical. It doesn't look like you've taken the same cartoon drawing image and like push, 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 but all the same vibe. You know, they all came from Mama and Papa cartoon drawing. And there's just three of them. One of them sort of flying up near the top of the alcove, and they're sort of like almost like catching as they're casting and like feeding it in and sort of pressing it into the wall. And there's one about mid-level, and you can see the one that's mid-level is almost paying attention to like avoiding the holes but making almost like anthill mounds so that they can still exit, but it would be covered from direct sight, if that makes sense. And then there's one at the bottom, piling on at the bottom and fixing around. And anything else? There's no other movement in the room.
We're all watching Dante to see what he can see.
I will slink back. Let's go. They're just undoing. They're creating more corruption. I'd say let them do it, and we just start again.
So hang on. So as we clear, they're going to try and fix that because that's their home.
I think they might do, but
so is there any chance of us getting through this room once they've fixed it? Maybe if Volu casts silence, not when they've done and they've calmed down, we could cast silence to get through the room, and maybe a pass without trace or something, although I don't know how many people I can do that on. But to get through without disturbing them, if they're not actually going to... I'm thinking if we stop them from fixing things, they might attack us. But if we let them fix it and then just try and get through without disturbing them.
I mean, I had an idea with Anya to maybe reactivate the warding, because I wondered if they're here because the warding is turned off. If this was against phase.
But wouldn't we need to clear each alcove to do that?
Potentially. But I've been good so far. Though, if you think if you want to just get past it, because just remember,
I don't know.
You have to probably come back here or have them behind us.
I know.
But it's up to you.
It's just that we really don't know numbers. And the soldiers behind us are just soldiers.
I mean, I've seen roughly, how many did I see again?
3, I think it was.
I saw 3.
But we heard more noise behind the walls, right?
There will be more.
Dante, as you're sort of thinking, and you've seen the sort of size of them now, you think there can't be like hundreds in the walls, right? You do like as much as yes, you're underground still, right? Like there's not crazy space. It's not like there's wall cavity space that you would have in a normal building. You get the vibe of, if it works similar to sort of insects and hive sort of stuff, like those are the workers that work on that one. So probably they care for and live around that one. Potentially not the only ones there. other thing for Anya is to say, if we could just walk through it the whole time, though, that seems too easy. If we were going to fight them, could we bait them? I mean, let's let them fix it and wait, but then could we disturb a specific bit of the wall enough and set traps for them?
Maybe, but again, it depends on numbers. You might as well kill the 3 that are there and then bait them back towards us. I don't know. It feels like a real unknown.
Can
Well, apparently I always make the wrong choice, so I let you.
can any of you go cast invisibility? I wouldn't mind going across, but if I'm truly covered.
I can only be invisible for like 6 seconds at a time. I don't have the ability to. I don't think.
I think Quilp might.
You think? Is that something I've forgotten? Hang on.
The camouflage coat.
I thought I could do it
It
once a day.
merges into the background of wherever I'm standing. Oh, I can cast invisibility once per long rest. Sorry.
No,
Is
it's
that
okay.
even in my spells? Yes, it is. Sorry, it is there. So I can cast invisibility.
I
was
would say
thinking
either.
about my Furbolg thing.
No, and I know you have both, so it can be mixed. But I would say either myself or even Dante, that's already seen. I'm thinking before we rush in and confirm, yes, we're going to rush through the room, we need to check out the other door. Have we checked it for traps or any?
Okay, I'm happy to go and try and.
I don't want to be trapped on the other side of that room with them alerted.
I can do it.
I mean,
Shall we wait for them to finish fixing and then?
Yes.
yes. So invisibility is concentration. So is pass without trace. So I can't cast both. I was just wondering then, could I do invisibility, get advantage on the stealth, and then also add a plus 10? But...
They will nod and sort of motion again for you to all back up, and I think you probably take the time to back all the way to the previous room.
Could I take the coat?
It is a tune, I think, but you would have the potential time to attune to it.
Waiting for them to.
But you don't need to. She can cast it on you. She gets to cast invisibility.
I can cast invisibility on someone else.
But if she has the coat's the thing that does that, then I can cast it on myself. She can cast pass without a trace.
Mm-hmm.
It's my coat though. It's actually armor. But
yeah, she would have to take a leather armor off.
Yeah, let's not do that.
That's my armor.
This was Chris's plan all along.
To steal all of Aileni's stuff. Yeah.
When you get back, they will just sort of say, I think the main group should wait here for now. I think the same or even less of us. I think we should tie whoever is going. We should tie a rope to you. And
who is our stealthiest person?
Probably me.
Well,
so then, if I cast invisibility on you, that gives you advantage on your stealth checks as well.
Mm-hmm.
We must tie a rope to you like we did last time, just in case.
Yeah.
If you're 60 foot the other side of the room.
The only worry about that is that then he's not carrying the rope, and there will be a rope moving across the room.
Yeah, I'm just like seeing that, thinking that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about adding the rope.
Just being like, so like I'm invisible. This is where I am.
Yes, I didn't think of that, but how do we get you back if you get stuck?
Actually, so Bolu. Oh, I see. It wouldn't be enough to pull you back, though. I was going to say, have you got any like finer like thread rather than a full-on thick rope? But actually, then it wouldn't be strong enough to pull him if we needed to.
No.
I think we just have to go.
I think I'm the stealthiest.
Yeah.
I am the quickest. And
you are the one that can heal corruption if something comes at you.
and I also can take the least damage. Actually, saying that, to be fair, necrotic isn't halved. Like, no.
So I will cast invisibility
literally,
on Dante.
Okay, so the guys take a pause. We cast invisibility. Can you roll me a new advantage stealth?
I'm going to slap guidance, I'm guessing, from thingy.
Yeah. Go on.
Grab a guidance from Volu.
Good job you had advantage.
I know. 23 altogether.
Okay, so you wait maybe an hour, checking in, either one of you going down the corridor and checking in to hear the noises, and eventually everything goes quiet again. And you sort of make your way up and invisibly peek round. You can see that the alcove has not been packed in and filled to the same level it had before. It's almost like they've done enough to feel comfortable that it's protected, sort of vibe. And everything seems relatively undisturbed and silent. You'll be able to make your way in and sort of head. Are you heading directly to the other door and just trying to get it done with, or are you going to sort of are you looking at anything else while you're invisible?
I'll be careful with say on the floor. I want to make sure I avoid anything that could be potential traps still. So, like, if there are any markings or sketchings of, like, warning, if you cross this far and you're an elemental, don't. Like,
Okay.
just anything along those lines. So check.
So checking for traps. Give me an investigation as you're making your way across.
Natural 20.
Ooh,
Hmm.
very nice. You're making your way across, and you get successfully all the way across without sort of seeing anything or triggering anything. You don't think there are any, like in the center of the room, there doesn't seem to be any interference. And as you get to the doorway of the other side, firstly, you pause at the last 5 foot, as that's definitely a pressure plate.
Oh.
You think that upon trying to leave this room on this side, that is whatever will trigger the triggerings. However, and what caught you on a dime, but you managed to see that out with a lucky nat 20. You sort of lean down and you start looking at it, and it's sort of like you will have to disable it, or it is going to be sort of, for you, Dante, not so much of a jump or a check, but for some of the people in heavier armor and stuff, it's going to be they're going to have to like over the space, or you could try and disarm it, sort of thing. And as you're leaning down to look where you would disarm it, the nat 20 saved you.
Okay.
If you imagine that, like, as somebody who looks at traps and stuff, there are certain places where you're like, okay, if the trap is there, my hand should be safe here, and my hand should be safe, and I can get low and look. In the places where you would put your hands, as you're about to, there is a fine, glittery layer of pixie dust. You think the trap was here before. Pixie found it. Thought, what would human do to undo this? And that, you're like hand paused above the shimmer. You think there is, you don't know what spell, but that is a spell. And it's almost like if you disturbed that and inhaled that, like there'd be like a puff of pixie dust and you turn into a fish or whatever the fuck it does. And as we pause there, that is where we are going to call this week's session. Thank you very much for joining. As always, thank you very much for playing. It's a tense crawl. We haven't done really any sort of dungeon crawly massively yet.
Not for a while.
It's been nice to jump in, have you on edge and not knowing what to do for a little bit. Not normally you're just like we run and
we charge.
Yeah. But thank you very much for watching. As always, thank you very much for playing. If you're enjoying the adventure, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you know when the videos are coming out. And as always, rule well. Bye.